Hello there guys, welcome back to The Manga Man. Before getting into the chapter, there's a few things I did want to talk about. Number one, according to the Reddit, Oda is ill, so we won't be getting any One Piece for the next couple of weeks. So prayers out to the guy, hopefully he gets well soon and hopefully we can get back to enjoying some high quality One Piece content. The second thing I want to touch on is these reviews. Solo leveling for me is a manhwa that I've enjoyed, and it is a discussion. I read a ton of manga, manhwa, webtoons, whatever you want to call them. So even though I'm not reviewing them, if there are some that you are watching that you would like to recommend, feel free to leave comments in the comments section below of any of our videos. Feel free to like, feel free to share, feel free to subscribe. I also have a Reddit subreddit under the same name, The Manga Man, so feel free to put down any memes, recommendations, or just general thoughts of any mangas for that week, manhwas, webtoons, etc., or even anime. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So, a relatively simple chapter. It's pretty much an aftermath chapter. But a few different tidbits happen that I want to discuss really. So the first things first, the way this chapter starts off is the essentially one-shot kill that Beru does on the Arch Lich. Now he seems to remove the core of the heart of the Arch Lich, which causes the Arch Lich and to die in the dungeon to basically be cleared, because essentially all of the summons essentially die as well. Which means that the knight skill is effectively surprised, like, oh, this guy can clear him himself. And essentially through a discussion between, I guess, is it the vice head and the head of the Knights Guild, they essentially want to tag themselves along in a supportive role to the main character Sun-jin Woo, because he's essentially a national hero, national level hunter or above, and if they attach themselves to him, they're gonna get a bigger reputation out of this. And they mention leeching and stuff like that as well, which is all there. But one thing they mentioned that was interesting, that I found interesting, was that the fact that he still needs, I believe it was 10 people to raid, and that was their reason for confidence, was quite interesting, because leading up to that he would just get nobodies to sit outside and so he could go and do this raid. So I think they haven't understood that that is possible for him. We then move on to the aftermath of what happened with the school. A lot of people have come out, a lot of people have died, 10 people were saved. The people that got away obviously were saved. And then we see Sun-jin Woo with the head of the Hunter Association. Not Netero, this isn't Hunter x Hunter, but the S-Class leader. And he basically makes an interesting point. He's saying that there's an unusual rise in gear activity and hunter activity, like they're kind of keeping a balance. And then he handed some papers over saying that essentially all the major organizations that have hunters, so America, Japan, China, even Arabia or Middle East, are essentially asking for him. And then he makes a point about them having 10 hunters, including S-Class hunters, including him, and the fear that they won't be able to survive if they lose him. Now, there's some notes that he specifically mentions I just wanted to clarify. Number one, from my understanding, his father, the main character's father, isn't considered an S-Class. It's unofficial. He probably is because he's been in a portal for like 10 years, but he is not considered S-Class. He's probably A-Class, officially, unofficially an S-Class. So when he mentions 10 people and 2 of them having died and 1 of them defected, he does not mean Sun-jin Woo's father. Who he's referring to, as we know recently, the healer S-Class that died on the Jeju Island raid, who he partially resurrected and then let kind of go into the abyss and whatnot. Him and another character who basically passed away on the previous raid. They mention his name when the healer character is talking to the S-Class character who can turn into like a wolf beast character, and they mention, no, I'm doing this for him. So he's the second person that died The third character, the one that's obviously went to America, is the S-Class character who basically, his older brother had an issue with Sun-jin Woo, got killed. He came to fight him, but Sun-jin Woo was in a red gate. He went back to America, and Sun-jin Woo's father's there. Sun-jin Woo's father tears him a new one, puts him on his backside, and says, "Go on, Sunny Jim, get out of here before I do you over." So I wanted to clarify that because ultimately, it's not referring to his father, because he may have not been an S-Class at that time. So that's basically what happens in the chapter. Now there is a few things that I didn't mention last time. I made some notes. I'm going to see if I can read these out, so bear with me. So the first thing was the guy's name who's gone to America. His name is Hwang Dong-soo. So that's the first thing. There was a character that was mentioned in the previous chapter that I didn't talk about because, one, I forgot his name, and two, we don't see much about him. He hasn't really shown himself. So the 2 points that we see this character from China, he's a national level hero, or hunter, sorry. He's discussed as a national level hero, and we see a little bit from his back in the panels when they're on Jeju Island and some of the actual ants are escaping, and we see the back, and he's got a dual wielding kind of weaponry. I'm just going to read out his name, so apologies in advance. His name is and he's a number 1 hunter, Liu Zhigang, and he's the person that basically beat the last Arch Lich when that dragon's guild got destroyed. So it was mentioned last chapter. I wanted to throw it in there because I forgot to mention it last time. I forgot his name. I couldn't remember his name now, but yeah, Liu Zhigang is the number 1 national level hero who saved China essentially when the gate was open and the Arch Lich destroyed the Dragon's Guild in China. That being said, that's pretty much everything that's covered. What's interesting though, I want to mention, is the leader of the Hunter Association says, I hope you consider staying. We will do everything in our power to help you. I found that interesting because what if he just bends the rules? Yeah, you don't need 10 people. I rule the Hunter Association, who makes the rules for hunters. So you might just bend those rules. You might not need 10 people. And that might just mess up the Night Skills plan altogether. That being said, not that long of a chapter. It is a cooldown chapter, so it kind of wraps things up. So hopefully we'll start moving things along. And interesting to see what will happen. There are a few plot lines to do with Sun-jin Woo's father, the Americans wanting him. They've already met him unofficially. Is he going to take the bite? Let's see what happens with him next. That being said, we're going to have to wait for next week. Until next time, peace.